D.R.I.V.E Transition Pro Bono coaching orientation. And we're very excited to share with you a new initiative that ICF San Antonio has embarked in. And we're so thankful that so many of you are willing to support this initiative. Susanna Clavello, the president of ICF San Antonio, and here with me is Roger Hall, our director of military partnerships, and Kelly Williams, the D.R.I.V.E program coordinator at Joint Base San Antonio. So let's go ahead and continue. And so what I want to talk to you about here is what we're here for. Oops, sorry, let me silence my phone. I apologize for that. So ICF San Antonio's mission is to support coaches, is also to have a significant impact in the community, educate our community about what we do, what is professional coaching, what's the return of investment, what it's like to work with a coach. We want to help people advance their lives, professional and personal, through coaching, and create a thriving community. Our values are people first, perspective, in the sense that the world is full of good, curiosity, all journeys begin with a question, and authenticity. Be always your real self. Last but not least, generosity. Give freely. So with that spirit in mind, we embarked in this adventure. Thanks to Roger, just happened with, started with a conversation, and this conversation took off, and that's where we are. So International Coaching Week is next week. All over the world, ICF chapters like ours will be celebrating our profession. And we have a lot of activities for you, a lot of events that I hope you will sign up for. They're free to members, and with the exception of one, they're all free to non-members as well. And so International Coaching Day is next Wednesday, and that day is dedicated to pro bono coaching, again, all over the world. And that's when we're going to launch the pro bono, the D.R.I.V.E Transition Pro Bono coaching. So before I turn it over to Roger so he can explain more what this program entails and who we're going to be serving, I had a conversation with people at ICF Global, because they have a foundation that takes care of all kinds of pro bono initiatives. And they say, did you realize that ICF Global is supporting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals all over the world? And there are 17 of these goals where coaching is a part of. And we found out that goals 8.5 and 8.6 are the ones that we will be supporting. And basically what these tell us is that young people will have jobs that are well paid, that are equitable, that are diverse, and that they will not live in poverty. We want them to equip them with skills and jobs and training and all the support they need so they can live fulfilling and dignified lives. So I'm really excited that we're able to do this as a chapter. Another thing that I wanted to say before we go on is that this is a pilot. Nothing like this has ever been done before. And so our intent is to try something new. And if this goes well, the intent is to replicate, to mirror this in many other military bases around the United States and the world, because we have a lot of young men, as you will know in just a few minutes, that will need the help from coaches. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Roger.
Thank you, Susanna, and thank you, everyone. I couldn't do this without you, and I couldn't do it without Kelly or Captain Jones, my partners in crime here with this phenomenal program. this is a one-of-a-kind program that DOD is going to seriously take a look at and probably implement at every basic training DOD-wide, just because of the work that these two individuals are doing with these young men and women. When I first met Kelly and I was introduced to her by the director of psychological health for the training wing, and said, hey, what can you do to help our D.R.I.V.E program? And when we sit down and started looking at everything that was going on, there was so much more that needed to be done. And Kelly can, and I'll give her time to talk, and she'll tell you there's still more that needs to be done to help these young men and women. If you've watched my video, I said these young men and women signed up to serve our country. And from no fault of their own, because of medical conditions, they're not going to be able to do that. And so we had the opportunity to give them a plan B, to work with them, get their life on straight. Most of you are probably my age, or maybe most of you are a little bit younger, but when you've got children and grandchildren that are at this age, and to think for a moment that maybe it's your son or daughter that is out there and is scared to death because they don't have a plan B in life. A lot of these kids, and we're just going to use that term loosely because of our age differences, but these young men and women, this may have been their last hope to get out of whatever situation that they were in. So the D.R.I.V.E program, and as you can see, it's an acronym for developing the entry skills. The whole concept was to find the talent that some of these folks come in with: language skills, cyber skills, computer skills. They have degrees, or they're a licensed plumber or electrician, or maybe they have that experience, and we can transition them into government service jobs. That's the original intent that we were looking for, and we have bonuses and everything for them. But when you get further down the tier, and I'll let Kelly talk about that, not everybody is qualified, and not everybody is ready to, has a place to fall back on. So Kelly, I'll introduce you as our program manager for the program, and I'll let you and Captain Jones say a few words about the program and what you need from us. You have to take yourself off of mute, sweetie.
Hello, y'all. So thank you again for having me. I guess, Roger, you pretty much summed it up, the whole program, and he's absolutely right when he mentioned that not everyone can qualify for the D.R.I.V.E piece, where we look for placing them in federal positions. There are a lot of people that aren't necessarily looking for jobs. There's those individuals are looking to go back to school. There's some individuals that don't even know what they're looking for. So, I mean, having something like this really is a great opportunity to give them that hope, because when I asked them about their plan B, and they were like, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what my plan, the Air Force was like their plan A through Z, so when this kind of thing happens, outside of their control, they become, a lot of them become hopeless and depressed. So one of the needs that I see being in this program for the time that I've been in is having that assistance when it comes to giving them that mental strength. We're all doing great jobs at finding them those jobs, but helping them in the core of their lives. And sometimes the core of their lives doesn't even, they don't even know what to look for. So having someone coach them and giving them that opportunity to help them look in to see, well, I need help with my plan B. I mean, because the turnaround in the squadron is so fast. How many, I don't know, maybe just like, what is the turnaround rate, Captain Jones?
Yeah, so that all depends. It depends on what they're being discharged for. It depends on a lot of factors. So if they're disciplinary, if it's medical, if it's flight medicine, there's really no set turnaround time on individuals here. We have a unique population here.
Yeah, they're not here that long. So being able to have that opportunity for them to have coaching, life skills coaching, things to help them out beyond checking out and separating back into their home life. And some don't even have homes. It's a great opportunity and we really appreciate being part of this and y'all offering this. You're muted there, sir.
So as coaches, here's what you need to know. First and foremost, their life has just been turned upside down. They're scared, depressed, anxious, all the above. So there's no telling what kind of conversation you're going to have with them from the initial standpoint. And as Kelly and the captain has pointed out, they may be gone tomorrow, or they may be getting notified that day after you talk with them that, hey, here's your bus ticket, you're on your way home, you're out of here. So the future is very uncertain for them. And that's where they're going to need your help. Even after they have left and gone home, they still need to work on that plan B, whatever that is. Now, we have created resources for them while they are here at Lackland. Military One Source is a phenomenal help if you're not familiar with that program. It's a massive online database of all of these resources all across the country. And they have access to that program for about 100 days after they leave the military. So our Military One Source advisor comes in and gets that set up to them. So if they're needing help with social work or whatever it may be on the outside, or getting food stamps, those things are in place to help them. You as a life coach just need to help them develop that goal and say, okay, here's what you need to do, or here's the resources that you need to be looking for. And Kelly and the team can help them with that. USO is another phenomenal resource. They have counselors, social workers on staff to help them with whatever mental health issues that they're dealing with. And so we'll talk about the plan if they confess to you that they're suicidal or they're thinking self-harm or any of those other things. But they are monitored 24/7. They're in a controlled environment. There is somebody with them all the time. Most of the time, they have a wingman with them. I don't know after hours, but there should be somebody there with them. Also, I'm putting resiliency trainers in place to talk with them about resiliency, to build up those optimistic type skills. So that way, hopefully by the time they're talking to you, that they have a little hope on how to start working with a life coach and start building that plan. Is there any questions at this point?
I do have, I have a question as well.
Yes, Barbara.
So what I'm wondering is, what kind of career assessments does the military give these individuals?
They give them an ASVAB test. And so there's about, I think 5 or 6, and I think the captain and Kelly could probably speak a little bit better to it because it's been probably over 40 years since I took an ASVAB. But there's general scores, admin scores, electrical scores, type of scores like that. So it gives an amplitude on their capabilities in those areas. And what we're working on is to set up a Google Drive that we can put their applications in that will have those ASVAB scores on it and their history as well. So you'll have access to that.
Okay, and then what about a refresher for them, even if it's in a group workshop, as to helping them look at what those scores were? And because people change, there are different aspects of what needs to be reviewed at this time in their life. And if there is another opportunity to take that ASVAB or another type of career assessment.
Well, the ASVAB would be fairly new for them because these folks have just barely been in the system.
Okay.
And they may have taken that ASVAB within a year's time frame. So it shouldn't have changed that much.
I'm wondering though, if you actually do an interpretation with these assessments with them, or do you give them the paper and they have to decipher what it is?
That is done at the recruiting station before they join the military.
Mm-hmm.
They're at the MEP station. The recruiter will go over those ASVAB scores with them and say, here is your best areas to work within the military. And the military will use those scores to select a job for them. Okay,
so one of the things that I would appreciate is if there's a way to do a group session like this on the ASVAB to have somebody who's really knows that backwards and forwards that could give us some quick pointers about what these scores really mean.
Sure.
This is
Kelly, Captain, can
Yeah.
you help her out with that? Or set something up?
Yes, sir. I think it'll be appropriate to link up the Air Force Recruiting Squadron here locally. They should know all the information about that.
I actually think that is a fabulous idea because I think most of the coaches will have a pretty solid understanding of assessments in general. But if we could get at least a high level overview on that particular assessment, I think we would be able to much better coach towards the personality and the type of individual that young man or woman is that we're working with.
That is absolutely an awesome idea. I like that.
I'm glad. I know that it's.
I will say that when they're here, they are able to go, like Military One Source, they have a lot of resources, and then they go and they take, I think it's ONET, they do an assessment, and it kind of like gives them sort of like a refresher. And then it actually helps them kind of locate things even where they're intending on going. They even put the location they're going, the things that they're interested in. So it kind of gives them that, but not everyone takes that. But I love this idea.
Kelly, I was going to just ask you about the ONET because I find
Yes.
that it's free, right? We pay for it
Absolutely.
in our taxes. A lot of people have no idea how good that.
It is a great resource.
It is, and it's so. But you do need to help usually someone who's in a fog, and to help navigate that. And it's just like the data that is brought out with assessments. They need help in navigating what this really means because it becomes overwhelming. It just becomes too overwhelming.
It does, yes.
Hey, Kelly, I have a question. So
Yes.
at what point do they, are they given the opportunity to create a resume?
As soon as they check in at Trust, and I pick up their surveys and I collect them, and then I reach out to them. They may come in before I'm able to reach out to them. But as soon as I get to meet that person and I say, hey, what's your plan B? And I get to talk to each and every one of them that come to my desk.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of them haven't thought about it. They're like, my plan B, a lot of these kids, again, we're going to use this term loosely, but a lot of them, they feel like such failures. They don't, some of them don't even, they have no clue of what they're going to do. Nobody's even thinking about that. So that's where I feel that resiliency is such a big piece, an important piece into this program. And in addition to the employment piece and the education piece, because it kind of gives them that hope, that second chance, and it helps them kind of find their ways again.
And basically, these are individuals who are struggling in some way with the decision that they made to go into the military, yet they're not performing in the way that needs to be performed.
No, there have been incidences where there are some that have been here for performance reasons, but the majority are for medical reasons beyond their control. Because someone happens to have eczema or someone, happens.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank
So
you.
things beyond their control, or, somebody may have busted their ankle during training, like, oh
Okay.
man, who,
Okay, so it's like a football player who didn't get to the NBA because
so they got to
Okay.
go back home.
Yep.
And some of them get to go through, we fight for it. So we like to have both sides covered, I'm the plan B, the Air Force is their plan A. But it's so cool because we're working both sides. And sometimes we have a win-win. We've had incidences where we've had airmen offered positions, and then lo and behold, this airman has gone back to training. So it's a win-win situation. We have both sides covered. So it's a really great program.
So our goal then is to help them figure out what they want to do and help them build their confidence level and also to help them strategize on the search. Because I see it in two phases. One is career exploration and self-identity, and then the other part of that would be the world of work. Where can they work? Is that where your thoughts are with how we can help?
Absolutely.
Yes,
And some
absolutely.
even have spouses, you know, and children. So they're like, oh my God, and they have their families back home. Like, what are you gonna do now? What are we gonna do now? And they're like, oh my God, I don't know.
Well,
So
it's a family affair.
yeah.
When
Absolutely.
when an unplanned job change occurs.
Yes.
Some of them may need help with life skills. You know,
Yeah.
mama took care of them the whole time that they were home, and now, you know, they don't know how to cook or clean or shop or any of that stuff. They're expecting the Air Force to be mom and dad for them for the
Okay.
next 4 years.
Well, tell us more.
Okay, let's go to the next slide, Suzanne.
This one, Roger?
Okay, so as we had talked, some of them they may be depressed, they may be having suicidal thoughts, they may have self-harm. We'll give you Kelly's number. Right now, when we get the CQ number, which means charge of quarters, that person that is there with them 24/7, you'll be able to ring to that desk and say, hey, I just talked to Airman so-and-so, and he has expressed or she has expressed these thoughts of self-harm. And so they will be able to immediately get somebody in to help them. But in the meantime, you'll have my number, you'll have Kelly's number, you can shoot us a text, and we'll make sure that they get the help that they need.
And we'll have those numbers on the last slide for you.
Next slide, go ahead. So this is, and you've guys already started hitting on it because of the phenomenal coaches and the experience that you have of what we need from you to be able to connect them to resources. You're going to have to step into a mentor role quite a bit to work with them. Sometimes they're not going to be able to, as you ask the right questions, they're not going to be able to come up with the right answers. So you'll have to step out of that role and play mentor. Have them write out that plan. If they can have paper and pen with them when they're talking with a life coach, because they need to be taking extensive notes. And so as you are suggesting referrals or things that they need to be doing, they can come back to the team and they can say, hey, I talked with my life coach, I need to do X, Y, and Z. And so they'll have it written down on the paper. And then if there's any concerns at all, as you're talking with them and you're worried about them, they may say, hey, you know, I came from a very abusive environment at home and I'm scared to go back home. That's something that the team probably needs to be aware of so that we can help maybe not steer them to go back home and find some other place that they can go to. And so we need to work with those kids as well. Some of them may have came out of foster care and they have absolutely nowhere to go.
Right, they do.
So any questions there?
Yes.
Go ahead, Kelly.
I have my hand up. Do I have to put it down or do y'all? Okay, lower hand. I got it. I got it. All right. Yes, that brings, when you were saying talking to life coaches, this brings me to a question for Captain Jones. When we have the trainees / airmen come and have those sessions where they do want to talk to those life coaches, where would you think the best place would be? Is this something that is okay? I mean, Mr. Hall, you've seen my area. Is that an appropriate area? Do you think that it will be a more personal space that we would need?
So my
Because
opinion, I think
ultimately-
that would be an appropriate area, but for the airmen specifically, they don't have any limitations
Right, okay.
after their end of day. So they can go wherever. They can go to Starbucks, they
Right.
can go to the library, they can go anywhere. But the trainees are limited. So it would have to be your
Right.
space just so we can have accountability for them.
Okay, so we're good on that. Okay.
What
I had
about
a
the
question
ability?
with that.
What about the ability to do Zoom with them?
Yeah.
Can we do Zoom meetings?
Yes. Yeah, we have Zoom capability.
Yeah, because
Okay.
everyone may not have access to the installation.
Okay.
Right.
Would you prefer them to be Zoom?
Would I, it depend, I mean, I would love to meet the person at least once, but
Okay.
it's been really great to be able to work by Zoom. And I think it depends on each person. I am meeting people in person now. So, but I'm just thinking about whether they can get off base, on base, whether I can get on base, off base, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, getting you on base, that piece is being worked now by the security forces. They should have a virtual website that you can go to and you can get sponsored and you can get your pass online. And so you should be able to drive up to the gate when we get there, which will bring us up to the Veterati site of how you will make that initial connection. And it'll be a phone call that the Veterati site will set up for you. And then how you proceed after that, whether it's Zoom or if it's in person, we can work those issues.
Okay.
So, and there it is. So you can register at the D.R.I.V.E or at the veterati.com//ICFW. And it's a very simple process to go through it. You use your LinkedIn account and you sign up, you answer a few questions on your profile about your experience and what where your expertise is. And when the mentees sign up in it and look for a coach, what will happen is there will be some algorithms that'll take place based on their answers and your answers. And they will come up and say, here's some instant matches for you. But they're also welcome to go through all 25 life coaches that we'll have in the system and say, yep, she looks exactly like my grandma. I'm going to call her. And so Veterati, what they'll do is you go in and you'll put in your appointment times that you're available, and they will select one of those times. Veterati will send you a text saying, hey, a mentee is signed up, wants to talk with you on such and such day and time. You'll confirm that appointment, and then Veterati does all the rest. Phone call will connect the two of you, and then you'll be able to speak. So we can go through it, Susanna.
Yes, we have some slides to illustrate all of that. So first, let me clarify that we are calculating about 4 sessions per coachee or per one of these young airmen. Why? Because, it depends on their situation. But we're asking people, our coaches, to commit to 4 sessions minimum. We also have a form where we can keep track of all the coaches that are wishing to participate in this initiative, and it's a bit.ly link that you see on your screen. We're going to make all these slides available to you, as well as the recording of this session after we're done, so you can have all the links. And then, like Roger said, in order to pair up the airmen with the coaches, we have partnered up with USAA and Veterati to allow us to use the Veterati platform. So they created a landing page for us that's called veterati.com/ICFSA. And this is what it looks like. Now, please notice that you will see the words mentors, access mentors or become a mentor. And we asked about changing that to coaches. What they told us is, that's kind of set in stone, so we will not be able to alter that, that language. But again, like Roger said, we are going to be coaches and mentors at the same time. So in order for coaches to sign up on this platform, just click on Become a Mentor. And what happens next is that you sign up with LinkedIn. I went through this whole process when I put together these slides, and it's so seamless and user-friendly. So you click here where it says sign up with LinkedIn, and you enter your username and password for LinkedIn, and you're going to be in automatically. So what that means is that it's required for all coaches participating in the program to have a LinkedIn account. I don't want to assume that everybody does have one, even though I know the vast majority do. If not, we need to create one. Once that is done, you will allow permission to Veterati to use all your information from LinkedIn. So your profile will be there, your resume, photo, specialty, everything will be included. You allow that, and then they ask you a few questions on how you can support. Now, this platform was made originally for veterans, right? So some of these questions are tailored to veterans, but they also helped us edit some of these questions for the airmen in transition. And so we basically check the box, one or more, where we feel like we can help. And once that is done, they will ask us for a few more questions, especially here where it says enter 3 skills. So it could be leadership or building self-confidence or stress management, whatever you feel applies to you. Once that profile information is completed, if you would like to tell the coachees a little bit more about yourself, you have the space to do that. And here is, they call it the superpower badges. If you are in one of these categories, you can check the box. Otherwise, you leave it blank. And we keep going. And so here you have the availability to sync your personal calendar with Veterati. And Veterati will find all the available slots on your calendar. Or you click here, do you see it where it says, no thanks, I prefer manually updating my availabilities every month. So you also have the option to do that. By the way, it works with multiple calendars.
So how does it work so that we could meet with them after 5 o'clock and on weekends?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. As a matter of fact, for example, I chose to enter my availability, and so yes, you can enter anytime you want, and you can do this one by one every week. However, it works for you.
Okay.
So here's an example, right? I put 5 p.m. and yes, there were slots even after that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
What is the end of their duty day? Like what time is that generally?
I was gonna ask Captain Jones if they have access to their phones on the weekends for something like this. Because as long as I know when they do show interest, I'll make sure that they have their phone with me. So when they do register, and then does the text come to them immediately, or does it take like a while for them to get that text link that gives them that appointment time confirmed? Then I can put it in my calendar and make sure that they're at the center with their phone. But I'm not sure if it can work on weekends, Captain Jones.
Yeah, so currently they do not have their phones on weekends. So that's just a matter of knowing when they have an appointment. That's easily, logistics wise, we can set that up. But yes, as of now, they do not have their cell phones. And as of the duty day for airmen, their duty day ends at 3:30, and then they turn in, they come back to the squadron around 18:30.
Thank you for clarifying that.
So at the end of the duty day, or do they have access to their phones?
No, sir. So they do
No.
not. They come back at 18:30. They turn back their phones in. But again, if they have a later meeting with one of the coaches, then that's fine. We can have them align with that time, and we can give them their phone, just ensuring it doesn't mess up with their chow time, so they still have to eat dinner.
So help me understand, the individuals that will be eligible for this are still working in the military. And correct? Is that correct? They're still working. Okay. What is the possibility that during that time that they're working, that there's a 1 hour a week opportunity to spend with us mentors during their regular work hours when they have their phones?
So, ma'am, yes, they're not necessarily working. They're in holdover status and they're awaiting some sort of discharge action or some sort of medical clearance. So they're flexible. Their time. They're not
Okay.
physically working like the rest of the permanent party.
Okay, so they can meet with us during that day up and, they can meet with us really. And then,
Yes, ma'am.
gosh, and so if they're in a holding pattern, then they've got a lot of idle time, it sounds like. Is that right?
Correct.
And that's not good for the mind.
Correct.
I'm wondering about volunteering. What is the possibility of getting these folks to do some volunteer work out in our community and help increase some connections and skill sets?
Wow.
So we're currently talking off base. Yes, I'm hearing that correctly.
Yes.
So that sounds like a phenomenal idea. We are looking for more opportunities for our airmen population specifically to have something to do, like you said, idle minds, right? So that would just have to be approved through my commander, which he may be for. I would just need a game plan and what that looks like, what the risk levels we're taking, and what who will be responsible for these individuals as they're out in the community.
Yeah, it's really a great way for people to understand the world of work is by volunteering. And also you can start building references outside your day job, so to speak, by being committed to some type of volunteer and understanding, what some of their interests are. We have great resources in San Antonio and great needs for volunteer help.
That is a great idea.
Again, I agree. That's a phenomenal idea.
As Barbara is saying that, it occurs to me that there are also many opportunities for internships, for apprenticeships. What about those opportunities? Is that an option?
I don't know. As far as our population, I don't know if that's an option because that's a little more commitment than just volunteering.
The other piece to that, though, Susanna, is the job shadowing. If they could do job shadowing with an electrician, like I have a company that I'm thinking of big time, that they could probably do some job shadowing. Again, that helps them to see what's, from the ONET, it says what the jobs are, yet real life makes it come alive, right?
This would be perfect also for, we have a number of trainees and airmen that are actually right here from San Antonio. So something like that would be an opportunity for those individuals. We've actually even gotten like 3 trainees connected and hired to work at the VA for COVID-19 screeners. So though that is an awesome opportunity, those internship pieces for those that are actually their home of record is here in San Antonio.
There's so much opportunity out here. We just have to help them find the right place.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is awesome.
Excellent. Yes. So I just wanted to wrap up with D.R.I.V.E. So once you enter all your availability on your calendar, then the next step is enter your phone number. And in a few seconds, you are going to get a key. And so this code, you're going to enter it here and you create the profile. It's that simple. As Roger mentioned earlier, when you get chosen as a coach or mentor, you are going to get messages on your phone telling you, who you're going to be working with, what time, what day, etc. So really, really user-friendly. And again, we want to thank USAA and D.R.I.V.E for their partnership in making this possible. We have 25 licenses in D.R.I.V.E. So 25 coaches who can simultaneously, let's say, foster, quote unquote, young airmen in transition at one time. Because this is 4 sessions approximately, we estimate a month or so, or 2 maybe, and then you can continue being a coach to them and work with a different airman, or you can drop out and then somebody else can take your spot. Why 25? Because that's how many that's our free license, that's how many users we can have simultaneously. And after that, there's a high cost that right now we can't afford. If this grows and if this becomes, more popular or replicated somewhere else, we can certainly talk to ICF Foundation and look at possibilities to get some funding for this. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is just a pilot.
Great to be a part of a pilot. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're excited about this. Okay, so questions and answers. What are some things that you have in mind that we can answer for you that we haven't discussed yet?
I
Well,
have.
I have go ahead.
Kelly. I don't want to hog this. Go ahead, Kelly.
No. After you.
Okay, 2 questions. You said 25. Does that mean that I would have 1 mentor, or would I have a mentee, or would I have 2 mentees, or 3 or 4? How does that work?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I can't overload myself, but I want to make sure I'm giving my time to each person.
You have the option of not accepting the mentee. If you've maxed out your pro bono time and you don't want to offer any more pro bono time, then you can cut that off.
Okay.
So it's totally up to you. I mean, you can, if you want to give 20 sessions to 1 individual or 20 sessions to 10 individuals, you have that option.
Okay. And then my other question is thank you, is it sounds like there's a portal, some type of career portal that they have access to. Am I correct? A career portal, or is it that would show resume writing, samples, and job search interview information, questions? Is there something like that they have access to?
Yes, they have access to do a lot of research, even USA Jobs. They have a lot of access to those things. Yeah, nothing specific as a career portal for D.R.I.V.E.
Okay,
but,
that's what I was wondering.
The resources that we use are, the basics.
So, what helps is if we know what they have access to, then during our coaching, we can encourage them. So, have you been at XYZ? What's your experience, and so forth. So, if you can just, highlight, okay, they do have access, that if they wanted to do a practice interview electronically, they could do that, and then they could show us a video, or, and with Zoom, we can do practice interviews on Zoom with them as well.
Oh, nice.
So those are some, and if they have a place that they look at on resumes that you have already set up, or if it's somewhere else, because I get concerned about people fishing on the internet, because you can get scammed quite a bit. Because they pull you in to look at the resume, and then they start wanting to charge you money for the resume.
I have a resource list for them when they come in, a folder that has a lot of resources, and it has like top 25 websites for like resume help, federal resume writing, lots of resources. And then in all of the the computers that they use, some of the airmen and trainees can earn volunteer through me. So I have them do little odds and ends. So I've uploaded all of the top favorites and the most credible job searching and websites and resources and favorites and all of them. So they really don't even have to dig and find. It's just like right there in favorite. So they can just pop right there and click it. So I try to make it easy for them because I had this one trainee has never touched a computer before. He's like, oh my God, it's just so funny when you see these kids.
And it's
But
magical.
I try to make it easy for him. You'd be surprised. But you know what? He made his first email. He was so happy. And I sent him one back and he replied. He was really proud.
Oh, Kelly, way to go to help it.
And Barbara, back to your question about the licenses, just to clarify, we have 25 licenses for coaches and coaches are unlimited.
Okay, thank you. Way
Okay.
to go.
So that means that one coach can have multiple coaches if that's
Okay.
what we choose. Okay, it's
Do
entirely.
we have 25 coaches, Susanna, that want to help?
We don't have them in the orientation today, but we did have 35 people who signed up for this
Okay.
orientation. And so as soon as we hang up, we are going to follow up with an email sharing the recording of today's session, the slides for today, as well as the link to register.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Susanna, are we going to give them the coaches a deadline to commit since we only have 25? I mean, since we only have 25 spots and we have 35 interested. So those who are truly interested, know that they need to get signed up.
At this point, we have not, because we didn't know what kind of response we would get. But in the follow-up email, we can definitely clarify that, as ASAP, sign up ASAP, first come, first served. That's the way I feel comfortable handling it, because, people may have other commitments, and so they may have the intention, but something comes up and they need to decline. But we're going to give them the opportunity to sign up on a first come, first served basis.
Perfect. Thank you.
Do we have this license for a certain amount of time, or is it something that we're going to have, forever?
We don't have an amount, a limited deadline or anything like that. We have this indefinitely.
Okay.
It's a really great pilot. I don't know who was the brainiacs that thought this one up.
Roger.
Roger. Let's blame Roger for it.
It's interesting to see what the gaps are out there, and that we got a gap here to help these folks. Thank you, Roger.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Yeah.
Again, I appreciate all of you coming forward, and phenomenal session with some phenomenal suggestions. It's going to take the D.R.I.V.E program even further than what I've even anticipated at this point. And I know Kelly's smiling ear to ear because this is just phenomenal stuff. I'm looking forward to being able to hopefully at some point DOD, the chief of staff, and those folks being briefed on everything that you guys are going to be doing.
Yeah.
This is, I recognize this is going to go pretty far.
Okay, Roger, with that in mind, I have to ask you, do we have some business outcomes from this? How do we measure success?
Right. The Veterati site will keep track of those that have signed up, that have the amount of mentoring sessions. At the same time, we're probably going to be surveying you as well, because we're going to have some metrics to go up to ICF, the foundation, to apply for that grant so that we can expand this program. So if you got some suggestions on some great metrics as well, you help somebody be placed into a job, you help somebody get a scholarship, your mentee was successful in doing those things, then yeah, we need to collect all of that data so that we can not only show Department of Defense how great we are, but we can also show ICF as well and get that additional money.
Yes, as Roger was mentioning, we will be able to collect a lot of data from the Veterati platform. So everything will be documented on that platform. But then we also want to be able to collect testimonials and collect all that anecdotal information that will support any future grant opportunities.
Mhm.
Would I have access to of the data as well, so we can put it in our reports?
Yes, we'll make sure that you get that data.
One thing that we forgot to mention, I believe, is that all the airmen in transition will fill out a questionnaire, correct, Roger and Kelly? And
Yes,
so
that's what I had mentioned up front, that the game plan is to have a Google Drive so that they can go in and pull that mentee's questionnaire and have all that information. It'll have their ASVAB scores. It'll have that basic information that they need for an initial life coaching session.
Yes, including,
Oh.
what areas they need help with.
That's something
Yes.
too I need to get Captain Jones's blessing on, just to make sure that that form can be uploaded. So I'll have to, is Captain Jones still on the call? Did we lose him? If that's okay, if not the whole form, it'd definitely be that the page that they fill out. And I may modify it just to put something else on it as far as their ASVAB scores. So I just gotta make sure that I'm able to have that form uploaded.
Also, do they
Okay.
get educational benefits?
Do they what?
Are they going to receive educational benefits?
And what terms, like?
They're not going to be considered veterans, Barbara, because they have served less than the amount of time required to be a veteran to get education benefits and and apply for VA benefits or any of that. So that's the reason why the creation of this program is because they're leaving with absolutely nothing.
Okay. Do you guys have a relationship at all with the community college system? So if we needed to send them to the community college system, there would be a go-to person there that they could talk with.
Well, when you say benefits, I see that in so many ways, because they do get some benefits there because they are connected to the CLAP testing center. So I do provide them with study guides. We have, oh my gosh, our trainees have earned about 21 college credits so far, taking CLEP exams, and we have CLEP exams every week. And they're earning this for free, while they're here waiting. So
good.
Yesterday we had 2 airmen taking it, and we had a power outage right in the middle of their exam at Lackland. But so they get them.
You need to go talk to Kelly about all the resources, right?
And we've also had a trainee apply, they're applying for scholarships there too. So we had one trainee come in and apply for a scholarship. A couple of weeks later, he came back, checked his email, and guess what? He just got awarded a $9,000 scholarship.
Oh.
Applying right through the D.R.I.V.E program. So they get, that's why I was like, what do you mean benefits?
While they're still in the system and they technically have an ID card, they're authorized all of those things, but once they're discharged, all that goes away.
Yeah, so we really need to help them sooner than later. Wonderful.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
All right. So we're leaving the contact information with all of you, and I had misspelled Kelly. I apologize. I put a Y instead of an I, so now it's correct. And in case you have any additional questions or in case of emergency, like we said earlier, right? And just a kind reminder that at ICF San Antonio, we need a lot of help. We're growing, fastly growing as a chapter. We consider ourselves very innovative. We're very synergetic, and we have some openings for support at the board level, as well as one position open, which is the Director of Digital Marketing and Communications. We also encourage you to download the Wild Apricot app, and this is free, and you can check all the events that we have coming up, track your CCUs, and there's the Android version as well as the Apple version. And we are super proactive on social media. We are pretty much in every social media channel you can possibly imagine, and we're very active. So please follow us, like us, and add your comments and share with your networks. Next week is, like I said earlier, International Coaching Week. We have 4 events: pro bono coaching and an in-person social, that we invite everyone to attend. It's going to be our very first in-person event in about 15 months.
Wow.
So we have identified a hamburger place that has an open patio. And so we feel everybody will feel comfortable, safe, keep their distance, wear masks, etc. So hopefully it's going to be the first of many. And we want to thank you from the heart for being here, for supporting us, for being part of this initiative, and for working with us in making a better community in San Antonio.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Susanna, Roger, Kelly, everyone. It has been great.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.